History of Petra and the Nabateans. Petra lies in the south of Jordan, a 2.5-hour drive from the capital, Amman. On a sunny day, and there are plenty in Jordan, the road will lead you past the Badiyeh, Jordan's stretch of sand dunes, to Wadi Musa and the modern city of Petra. An unassuming village where the streets and the simple, relaxed everyday life give no clue to the secret that lies ahead, as was intended thousands of years ago. Its modern name comes from the Latin word patre, which means rock. Its history goes back to 9000 BC. There is a reference to Petra in the Bible as Sela, which means rock in Aramaic, the capital of the kingdom of Edom. The Edomites lived in Petra in the 12th century BC up until about 300 BC, when they were defeated by the Nabateans and were forced out and settled in Palestine. Like many other Semitic tribes from the Arabian Peninsula, the Arab Nabateans left the harsh environment of the south and migrated to what is known today as the Middle East. The city they created was named Raqim. Through an ingenious system of dams, water collection techniques and canals, they created an oasis in the desert of Wadi Araba. The location was vital because it lay on the commercial silk, spice and frankincense trade routes from India to the Arab Peninsula and Europe. Traders would stop with their loaded caravans full of spices, sugar, gold, cloth, frankincense, silk, and precious stones and settle for the night, then reload on supplies before resuming their treacherous trip across the desert. Nabateans mined bitumen and sold it to the Egyptians, who used it in the mummification process. They were traders as well as farmers. At one point, the caravans were diverted to Bayda and Sabra, two suburbs of Petra that became the main commercial stations for traders coming from different parts of the world. Those who came from the north or the far east would head to Sabra, while others, coming from Damascus or Yemen and Asia Minor, would stay at Bayda, in the northern outskirts of Petra, which later became the main commercial hub. The Nabateans reached a high level of sophistication in the arts and architecture, as well as written arts. They adopted Aramaic as their language and produced an extremely developed hydraulic system that utilized rainwater and runoff water to sustain the city through a network of canals, dams, reservoirs and channels. Their expertise preceded what is known today by 20 centuries. Petra was ruled by a royal family. The government included women and was categorized by a spirit of democracy. Nabateans adopted Christianity in the 4th century AD and abandoned their previous gods. The Arab male god Dushara or Dushara and his feminine trinity Al-Uzza, Al-Lat and Manat, as well as some of their deified kings, most famous of whom is King Obodas I. Petra was conquered in 106 AD by the Romans under Trajan and became part of the Arab state under the Roman Empire. Later on, in the early 4th century AD, the Romans diverted trade routes to Constantinople. That, followed by an earthquake which hit Petra in the 4th century AD and then again in the 5th century AD, robbed Petra of much of its glory. Petra became a sleepy city, living in solemn solitude until the 12th century, when it was slowly abandoned and went into oblivion. Petra was a forgotten city for centuries. Its present-day inhabitants, the Bedouin, hid and guarded their city against intruders for centuries for fear of foreign influences. In 1812, and with a mixture of pure chance, the power of persuasion, and deception, Petra was rediscovered by a Swiss explorer named Johann Burckhardt. Although it has been more than 100 years since the city was discovered, only 1% of it has been excavated. The sheer and exceptional beauty of the rock city soon captured the attention of the world. Petra came back to life as the amazing and enchanting city it is today, a testimony of a great civilization half as old as time.